Today I'm going to be doing a quick paracord kind of tip, and for this first tip I'm going to be talking about doing aglet, how to replace these aglets with actual paracord ones, and how simple it is. For this you will need just some gutted paracord, and it can be whatever color you want, preferably personal colors are best, whatever color you like though. That'll just be what the end of the aglet looks like. So be creative and just choose a color that you like. The next thing you'll need is not necessarily a multi-tool, but just some kind of scissors. I just use these on the Surge because I always have them, and they've always been enough to cut paracord. You can even use a knife, but what you want to do is measure, and of course because you're making your own custom aglets, you can make them as long or short as you want, but I generally base them. I really like the size of a normal aglet, and so before I take the aglets off, or even if they break, I'll just take that size, which is about an inch and a half or an inch and a quarter, at least in this particular aglet. They do range in size, but I like this size a lot, and so I've just duplicated that, as you can see, with these two green aglets and or pieces of gutted paracord, and that's what I'll be putting on here. But that's the first thing you're going to want to do, is cut this paracord down to that size, or the desired size. The second part is, and this is kind of if you don't already have the aglets off, a lot of my aglets end up breaking because this plastic, there's just a seam right here, and a lot of the time it'll actually end up cracking, and so most of the time I don't have to purposely get the aglet off, but if you want to, this plastic is so brittle that generally if you just grab the tip of it and push it one way, once again that seam tends to just break, and you can just kind of roll the piece off. And so that's generally how I do it. And so now that it's off, you'll just of course want to put an aglet on there, and a piece of paracord, and this is actually a pretty tight fit. You may have to use extra tools such as pliers or something to get in there and fully get it in. This is about only halfway in there, but you just find something. I really like these. I cannot remember the name of these. I believe these are hemostats, and I really love these things. And what I do is I just kind of grab the edge like this and just pull it in there like that. And then once it's there, you'll see that that is really kind of frayed out. And so what I'll generally do, and the scissors and stuff are almost done with, generally that's when I'll use the lighter. And for this particular operation, I like to just light the lighter and then just set it. Most recommended ways of going about doing this, or putting this on this end, is to actually start the lighter on the table and just let it run there, because generally what will happen is the paracord will shrink a little at first, and so it's important for you to kind of move it up as it shrinks, and eventually it will stop and it may light on fire. Generally the inner of the shoelace is more flammable than the paracord, and then once you kind of get it molten here at the tip, what you'll want to do is take some device, once again, pliers like these work great, and you'll just kind of want to smooth this out while it's still molten. Sorry, I was doing that off frame, but you'll want to smooth that out when it's molten, and you'll kind of want to make that nice tip, and that will help it threading through the holes of your boots, and it'll make it a lot easier if it's a smooth tip. And one thing is, if you notice that a particular spot is not round, sorry about that, you can always take it kind of back over and just re-smooth it. And what you'll want to do is just overall make sure that this very tip is very, very smooth. What you want to do is to secure this back piece, and unlike on a normal aglet where you'd pretty much only secure the front end, and you can definitely do that on here, but this will fray out and get all nasty looking back here, and so you'll want to make sure that you want to do something about that, and So the thing to do, of course, is to start it and singe that end, but you want to be careful with your shoelace here because, like I said, generally shoelaces are more flammable than paracord, and so you need some way to protect this. And there's a couple ways you can do it. You could actually pre-soak this shoelace before you do any of this, and just not get this little piece up here wet, or you could just wet this area. But one of the easiest ways to do it is to just just kind of firm this up and then put your pliers right next to it. So this isn't actually on the aglet, but it's right next to it. And so then we'll start this again, and then you kind of just want to, sorry, the wind is a little out of control today, but you'll just kind of want to run that over, and you want to be quick about it so as not to singe too many other things. And you also kind of want to be careful depending on what kind of aglet you want. If you want something that's more flexible like this, or sorry, something that can actually bend like that, you want to make sure to not burn or get this middle area heated up at all. If you want more of a traditional like aglet that's stiff, what you'll want to do is, while holding this with the pliers again, you'll want to just kind of rotate it and do it on both sides and just in all directions and just lightly singe this paracord, and that will essentially stiffen this up. But once again, I'm going for more of a loose style here. So like I said, you just essentially want to singe this end while holding it, like I said, with pliers to kind of protect this area of shoelace. That's pretty much it to the aglet. There are several reasons why you might consider this. One, I know a lot of people will just be saying, oh, just make an entire shoelace out of paracord. And that's something that you can definitely do. Personally, I really like just shoelaces in general as well. You can't necessarily, or I like these shoelaces already in general, and I don't really want to waste. This is about like, I think around 6 feet of paracord here, or sorry, not paracord, but of shoelace, and that would have to be around 6 feet of paracord, and so I really wouldn't want to do that. As well, it adds a nice custom touch. I mean, you can get paracord in so many different colors, and sorry about all these mosquitoes, but you can get paracord in so many different colors. It'll add a lot of personalization as well. Since there's no seam or hard plastic, even if you do make these hard, or if you decide to make these hardened, there's no seam for them to bust, and so they end up being a lot more durable over time, and they're a lot better than just having a bare lace and trying to thread it through holes. Overall, this is highly recommended. Sorry, my lighter keeps falling down here, but that is how to put aglets on shoelaces. I'm out.